to legit to quit. So we are looking at this week in PBA 305 week 4 when a policy has been legitimized and it is in fact implemented. It is too legit to quit. So the federal government, state government, or local agencies decide to move forward with a particular policy. Up to this point, we've looked at how in fact the laws are created from policy planning through legitimation, and now today and this week through implementation. So basically what happens is once something's signed into law, somebody has to put it into place, and there are multiple executive agencies in Washington, D.C., for example, that have a cabinet member that takes the president's orders, or takes the Congress's or the legislature's orders and puts them into effect. It can be, for example, the Environmental Protection Agency can enforce clean air regulation. It can be the Department of Defense that puts national defense policy into place to protect our country. It can be the Department of Health and Human Services that makes changes to Medicare and Medicaid and our health system to help keep our citizens safer and healthier. So we have a very large and complex executive action force in Washington, D.C. with federal agencies that implement policies that are put into place at that level. We also have state agencies, multiple state agencies, basically similar to what you see in Washington, D.C. In Austin, for example, we have the Department of Agriculture, the Land Office, the Comptroller's Office, the General Land Office, the Department of Insurance, the Department of State Health Services, all in a lot of ways similar to what you would see in Washington, D.C., the Department of Transportation, for example. A lot of those places receive federal dollars, and they are arms for implementing policies that are put in place at the federal level, and then money is then transferred down to the state level to implement how that state agency sees fit within the bounds and constraints of a particular state, in this case Texas. So we see that there is from a vertical perspective, so to speak, just like these trees behind me, things funnel up and down in the sense to federal to state to local routes. And we also see that there are horizontal actions going on between agencies. For example, you have agency collaborative efforts. The Department of Health and Human Services might work with the Department of Agriculture if there were a Border Patrol and Security, for example, the Department of Public Safety. If there were an avian influenza leak across the Mexican border, we see that there are these collaborative efforts to implement policies to, for example, respond to crises or long-term efforts. So there's multiple routes and ways to implement policies once they're put into place. So that's what we're going to be looking at this week. Feel free, if you have any questions along the way, to shoot me a text or give me a call on my cell, or send me an email. I'm always available and ready and open to talk with you. Hope you all have a great week, and